Yes, absolutely. Pete, dip your toes into that if you want, because we are live on the tube, and this show is starting in 3, 2. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Comic Book Club. I'm Alex.
I'm Justin.
I'm Pete.
And we're coming to you live, of course, from the internet. We're live in two places, over on Crowdcast and YouTube, or you're listening to this on a podcast, in which case, hello, we love you too. It's all good. And hopefully, we love you. And you know what? We are in love with you.
That's
Both
right.
things,
It's the season. It's a season to profess your love for strangers. And love, actually.
Yes,
Oh,
but from
boy.
a safe distance. It's like that scene with Andrew Lincoln, but he's 20 feet away. You know, he's like on the other side of the street, shouting at Keira Knightley, being like, read my signs. Read my signs.
My wife, we watched the movie The Family Stone. She's like, this movie is such a good holiday movie. And we watched it. I was like, what? No, it's not. It is not. So Family Stone heads, let me know, because I don't know. She was really going to bat for this movie. And I was like, Dilbert Mulroney? Whatever his name is.
He's the star of the season, right, Pete?
I don't know.
This is your beat. You're on the rom-com beat, Pete. Pete's rom-com beat. You should know this stuff.
Yeah, I guess I've seen that once, but I don't remember it being good.
There you go. All right. Justin, maybe you want to get married to Pete. That's what I'm saying. You know, he knows
Too
what's
late,
up with the
baby.
family. Too late. Folks, we have an exciting show for you. Little order of business. We did have a guest scheduled for this week. His name's Rick Remender. He is not able to be here this week because he is slammed with work.
Because he's scared.
He's scared.
Wow. Are you intimidating? Did you intimidate him? Because he's not even going to come back. He's not coming back till 2021.
Yes. No, he will be on the show in January. I believe we scheduled him for January 12th, so stay tuned for that. But he did have a very busy week. But, folks, that's fine. We still have an awesome guest for you this week that I'm very excited to chat about. So I am going to call him right here into the stream right now. He's the creator of a book called In Teddy We Trust, which you're going to see a little bit of in a second. It's a little bit of a cute little, also horrible riff on Teddy Roosevelt as a teddy bear. It's terrifying. There's a lot of blood and stuff. His name's T.E. Marshall. I'm going to find out if that's a pseudonym, because it certainly sounds like he's riffing off the whole Teddy thing. I don't know if that's happening, but ladies and gentlemen, T.E. Marshall.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello. How are you? Thanks for coming in.
Let's see. Alex, Justin, and Pete. Hello. Great to meet
Hello.
you.
I love it.
Great to meet you.
Amazing. Congratulations, first of all. Your Kickstarter for In Teddy We Trust was successful, right?
Yes.
Yeah, nice job.
Did a lot of hustling and got to the finish line.
Congrats.
And now you'll never have to work again. That's how Kickstarter works. Right?
Oh, if only. I'm trying to get there. One day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I asked this right before you came on. T.E. Marshall, is that your real name? Because it seems very close to the whole Teddy Roosevelt
Because of the T.
Yeah.
T? Alex, what are you trying to do?
You kind of trailed up there. Your logic kind of just fell off on that.
I did. You can see like the gears grinding to a halt, right?
This is indeed my name. It is my initial.
Wow.
I thought I'd sound. I wanted to sound like more of a science fiction, fantasy, prolific writer. So
Smart.
condensed the first and middle name into T.E. and there we go. We got my writing name.
Very good.
Oh, man. Pablo is razzing me about my question there in the comments. I feel terrible. Wow. Let's get into a more serious one.
That's an ironic dig right there.
About In Teddy We Trust, because this project is by turns cute and gruesome at the same time. What was the initial inspiration? Did you go to like the Museum of Natural History, saw Teddy Roosevelt, you're like, you know what if he was killing demons?
So I used to commute like a lot in one of my day jobs back in a few years ago. I started listening to all these history podcasts. They were super cool.
Ooh.
And I got really into Teddy Roosevelt and the Rough Riders, story. And then I went to my very first Comic-Con 2019. That actually was my first Comic-Con because I only recently decided I want to be a comic book writer. I was working on my first book. I went to Comic-Con and I was just writing in one of the metros. And I just thought to myself, I really like Teddy Roosevelt. What if I just made him a teddy bear and then had him fight demons? And it just kind of clicked in the moment. I think the spirit of Comic-Con got to me. And I was just like, I need to make this now. And then I went to one of their what's called a creator connection sessions, where they take writers at Comic-Con and they have them sit down with artists and they do speed pitching. And I ended up pitching this artist named Luis Rivera on an idea for a teddy bear fighting demons, and he loved it. And then we started working on the book right after that. And a year later, launched a Kickstarter, and here we are now.
Wow. Now,
awesome.
We're looking through some of the pages here. This actually starts on Inauguration Day, January 20th, 2021. Is this a accurate depiction of events to come?
So this was an alternate reality.
Okay.
I guess we'll
Here
see.
we have
This can't say it's alternate yet.
Yeah, this was me predicting the outcome of the election, back in 2019, in which the big twist is that the winner of the election is a third-party candidate who has 1 billion Twitter followers and just tweeted everyone the night before election to vote for him, and then he ended up winning that way. But these demons, as you can see, are not too happy about him winning, and they come to take him out on his inauguration day.
So, we're looking at the first page here, which, as I mentioned, is kind of gruesome and bloody, and in a hilariously over-the-top way. But given that you have this adorable teddy bear who is fighting these demons, how'd you find the mix between cute and gross at the same time?
So, funny enough, the inspiration was that Theodore Roosevelt, is the original inspiration for the teddy bear, right? So teddy bears were created, in honor of Theodore Roosevelt, because there was this story that said he went hunting and his people trapped a bear and they asked him to kill the bear. And he said he would never kill a creature that didn't stand a chance at defending itself. And then he ended up getting a lot of acclaim from this, and a toy company made the teddy bear to honor him. So I thought, what if, he came back and he was a teddy? And the irony in that is he did not like being called Teddy. He liked being called Theodore. So now he has to deal with, the fact that he's a teddy bear and people are calling him Teddy and he doesn't like that. So I thought and really the style fell into the hands of, Luis, my artist, and he really blended the character in a way that, he's both cute and intimidating. And we're able to do some pretty cool action-packed sequences because we're a comic book. We're meant to be a little gory. We're not trying to go PG here.
Yeah, let's go all the way. Now, do you feel like people will start to adopt this vision of Teddy Roosevelt, former President Teddy Roosevelt?
Well, that's the plan. I really like what we've done with this so far. It's a pilot, and I've worked out, a series Bible of what we could do with it if I continue to make one of these a year. And so, if I do one of these a year for the next 10 years or so, I hope that's going to create, a niche audience. It's going to portray this character in their own ways, and we can see what happens. But I really love the design of this character. And, for our Kickstarter, we even made some cool masks like this one where you can put it on and you can have the Teddy face.
Nice.
Oh, and he's my glasses, and I could dress up as Teddy for the next Halloween.
That's awesome.
So, was this your first Kickstarter project? And if so, what did you learn from the experience this time out?
So this was my first Kickstarter, but it's my second crowdfunding. So I did an Indiegogo. It was going on when I went to that first Comic-Con, and I learned then, because I was a nobody, I aimed too high. I had a goal that was for $30,000, and I knew nobody in the business. I just thought, let's be ambitious. I did raise in the Indiegogo $3,000, and I put it straight into the book. And that book I'm now self-funding because I do still want to finish it. That'll be done by next summer. But in the meantime, I found another artist that, the art costs weren't as incredible. So we were able to do this Teddy book in the meantime. And then it became my first Kickstarter. I thought, I've tried Indiegogo. I learned some stuff there. I want to try Kickstarter now.
Yeah.
And I was happy with what we accomplished. I was able to learn don't go for $30,000, and I went for $2,000 this time, which is just what I needed to print the book because the art was done. I self-funded all the art.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then
Smart.
Yeah, so we hit that goal, and I just got the book on Wednesday last week, so it's right here.
Oh, very gratifying. So shiny.
It's my very first book, so I'm feeling very good right now that I have this.
Wow. That's
very
awesome.
Shiny too.
Obviously shops are kind of open, kind of closed at the moment. You got the Kickstarter successful. If somebody wants to pick up this book, though, given the Kickstarter's over, where should they go to?
So I do plan to shop it around to comic book shops in 2021. But first, I'm doing one more crowdfunding run. Next month, I'm going to be launching Indiegogo. So since we already were successful on Kickstarter, I wanted to give Indiegogo fans a place to pick it up as well. And so I found some artists on my Instagram who work on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comics, and they put together a very exclusive variant cover. So I'm going to launch next month on Indiegogo the issue number 1 with this new variant cover. And so you can get either the new variant cover, this cover, or both when we go live next month. And I'm probably going to launch on my birthday, which is January 18th.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Great time. What can we get you? Oh, perhaps your campaign?
Yeah, exactly.
And eventually you're going to Indiegogo the D, D, and Y that you're going to add to your name, proving Alex's theory that you're secretly a Teddy.
This is what I'm getting at.
yes, of course.
Great. Thank you, Justin.
I'm always when you are afraid to ask the deeply gotcha questions, I'm happy to jump in, Alex.
Yeah, that's why we're America's premier news team.
Oh,
100%.
boy.
T, thank you so much for coming on the show. Congratulations on the project. Happy advanced birthday as well.
Oh, thank you.
And good luck with the rest of it. Very excited to see issue 1 when it finally comes out. Excited to see issue 2 when it eventually comes out in a year or so. And good luck.
And let me say, I'm looking forward to issue 3 and the more after that.
Yeah, issue 4 though? No thanks. Issue 5 though? Yes.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
See you, T.
All right. There you go. T.E. Marshall with In Teddy We Trust, which you can do a little internet search for and pick up, as he mentioned. Here's my fun fact about Teddy Roosevelt. Did you know that he invented the daiquiri?
Wow.
Yeah. When he and the Rough Riders landed in Cuba, they wanted a drink to celebrate, so they invented the daiquiri. There you go.
It takes a lot of balls to go into a bar and be like, make up a drink for me. I just did something amazing. And it better have strawberries in it or whatever.
Yeah. Make it frozen. I like it when it's frozen.
Yeah. Do you want to just have a whiskey there, Rough Rider? He's like, no, I'll have some frozen daiquiri.
All right, there we go. It's time to move on to my favorite section, which is, I like to call it daiquiri time, but it's your audience question.
All right.
Yeah, get those questions in. We need them.
And for your audience questions, all you got to do is drop a question and ask a question here on Crowdcast. Over on YouTube, drop something in the comments section. Questions about absolutely anything, and we will answer it over there. I'll keep an eye on those. Also, give us a thumbs up. We always like a thumbs up over on the old YouTube. And tying into the daiquiri thing, let's talk about what we're drinking first. Pete, what have you got? What's going on? What you drinking?
I've got a nice Pinot Gris. It's called Sea Glass,
Ooh,
a
Sea Glass.
2019,
Oh, is it like
Great
licking
year.
the beach?
Yeah,
It is. It's like if you threw a bottle into the ocean 10 years ago and the glass got dull over the many years.
Excellent.
And it became one.
Yeah, there's nothing like tasty glass.
Justin, what you got going on?
I'm drinking a little Solid Gold. Founder's Solid Gold. It's a premium lager for a premium guy.
Wow.
And Alex, what bubblegum flavored wine are you drinking?
I mean, kind of. Pete's Punisher Slippers wanted to know if I was drinking a daiquiri. I should have been. I did not think about that. But I am actually having a Bar Drake Manhattan that I made.
Whoa.
So I made, for Thanksgiving, we made way too much food for basically 2 people, not including my kids because they ate noodles and stuff. But I made some cranberry sauce with port wine and figs. So I've had a ridiculous amount of port wine left. So I found this drink. It's out of Bar Drake in San Francisco, and it's basically port wine, bourbon, a dash of bitters, and a little bit of maple syrup. Like just like a tiny little spoonful of maple syrup to bind it together. So good.
Great.
Yeah, Beercade PhD mentions it's all sugar. Yes,
exactly.
It sure
100%.
is. It's like drinking a dessert that gets you wasted.
Wow. All right. Living the dream.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Alex, you never fail to be yourself. A sugar craving monster.
Pretty much. Yeah, it's actually real tasty, but I'm almost done with the port, so we'll see what happens. Here's from Pete's Punisher Slippers. Seems like a Berlanti-esque Mandoverse is forming on Disney+. What shows would you like to be part of it? So potentially we're going to get into Mandalorian spoilers here, particularly for the last episode, because there's a lot of stuff going on. If you haven't caught up, I would say turn away here or put on your earmuffs. Joe says, isn't that just the Star Wars verse? Sure, but I think there's a difference between what they've had on screen and what they were trying to do on screen versus what they're doing on TV, potentially. So obviously you had the main trilogy Star Wars movies, you've had plenty of books, you've had plenty of video games. They tried to do spin-offs with the Star Wars. Yes, that's true. They tried. Yeah, huh.
So do we.
They tried to do spin-offs with the Star Wars stories that didn't really pan out necessarily at all. But clearly Mandalorian is a huge success, and there's been a lot of rumors about live action spin-offs from Mandalorian. So first there were rumors about, again, getting into spoilers here, but a Boba Fett show that might spin off of the Mandalorian. Now a lot of people after the last couple of episodes are talking about, is there going to be a live action Rebels spinoff? Is there going to be an Ahsoka Tano spinoff? Is there going to be anything like that? Or over here on YouTube, OG mentions if they bring in a live action Thrawn, they need to bring in Mara Jade and go full Thrawn trilogy. First of all, what do you think about this? Do you want to see more shows specifically spinning off of the Mandalorian? And regardless, what other live-action Star Wars shows would you want to see?
I'd love to see a cooking show where Baby Yoda cooks Frog Lady eggs in a bunch of different ways.
Boo!
Different ideas.
I wanted to see a Jason Sudeikis Stormtrooper spin-off show where he's just himself in a Stormtrooper outfit,
Cops, but with Stormtroopers.
No, more comedy.
How about Ted Blasto?
There we go.
That's what you want.
Ted Blasto way.
What do you think about the general idea of spinning off of Mandalorian in particular?
I worry that spinning off Mandalorian is like a spin-off of a spin-off. And I think you're then a little too deep into the weeds of Star Wars. I think do another show from another section of the Star Wars universe that is in itself one step away from the mythology that we've all now grown sick of. But if we could get something that is, I don't know, no one really wants an Ewok adjacent thing, but I think that's something outside of the world you could explore.
Yeah, like Ewok Adventures. They could do two movies, one about a caravan of courage or something like that, and another one.
I wanted the Ewoks. The people in the comments are very offended that I like Ewoks, but I'm saying people in general do not like the Ewoks.
Yes.
Don't hate me. Don't drag me for that. I'm just talking about these other people.
Yeah, I agree with you, Justin. I think Mandalorian, and I've been saying this all along, and I know some people in our comments and on our Slack have disagreed with this, but it's at its best when it's its own thing, when it holds to its own story. And it starts to get me worried, particularly in the season, when people are like, ooh, is it setting up Snoke? Is it setting up how Palpatine returns in Rise of Skywalker? Please, no, please don't do that at all.
No. The term setting up Snoke, no one needs that at all.
Nobody needs that. Yeah. But to your point, they're talking about they've been working on this Obi-Wan show forever.
Yeah.
I think if I remember correctly, Leslie Headland is working on a Star Wars show as well that's set in some unrelated time period. That's great. I love Star Wars, but I've always been very iffy about its breadth as a franchise and its ability to embrace different tones. I would love to see people challenge that. I want to see people do what they did with The Mandalorian, where they're like, this is a very simple Western samurai style show. Let's get a mystery show. Let's get get a cop show. Let's get a medical show. I don't care. Like, branch it out as much as possible.
If anything, the Marvel Universe proved that genre first is a very sound way to move forward in these larger expanded universes, because it gives us something to hang on to that you're laying the superhero, or in this case, space opera tropes on top of. So I want to see like a romance. Pete, get on board here. Give me like a Romeo and Juliet style tale. Like, what's the Willow of the Star Wars universe, where you get Mad Mardigan and Sorsha? Who are those characters? That's what I want.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I'm not hearing about a spinoff does not make me excited. I do agree, though, that there could be some fun things to explore. I see Eduardo said Babu Frick, and I didn't know I wanted that until someone just said it, and now I want to see that. But, it's all about...
Fricks Upper.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah, like a DIY.
Yeah, like
a DIY Star Wars show.
Yeah. Babu Fricks are up. Quick side question. Wasn't there a failed Ewok cartoon over in the YouTube comments? Yeah. Well, there was a bunch of, there was an Ewoks cartoon, there was a Droids cartoon. There were also the 2 live action Ewok movies, which I loved as a kid and are missing from Disney Plus. And it's legitimately a crime that I think they should be arrested for.
Slight overstatement.
No, I don't think so.
Citizen's arrest. Go get them, Alex. What would you charge them with? Is that
failure to stream?
Wow, a lot of real criminals out there. We fortunately can't be charged with that, because all we do is stream.
Yeah. Regardless, I think they're going to have to ramp up what they're doing with Star Wars on Disney Plus. Certainly, there's not going to be any movies anytime soon, and they've, beyond anything, really been in stasis with everything except for Mandalorian. So they got to fix it and figure it out, because at this point, Marvel has so many properties. It's a missed opportunity to not constantly have Star Wars in some way on TV. Yeah, I think. Let's move over to a question here on YouTube. This is from The Big. Hi, guys. Awesome show as always. So my college-age daughter is writing a paper for school on the theme, what makes Spider-Man so timeless, and why can anyone wear the mask? Thoughts? Suggested source for her? Great question.
First off, we're not going to do, your daughter's homework for her. But I appreciate
we're not going to write her paper.
Yeah, exactly.
For nothing. We're not going to do it for nothing.
Exactly. Like, times are tough. I'll write the paper.
$50 or something like that.
Very decent rates. So we'll be more like jokes than necessary in there, but you can just cut them
punch
and
them
turn
up.
it in. Yeah. Going to punch up a lot of the thesis. What's the old thing we learned? I think they've moved on from this where you do it's a triangle in the first paragraph and then a square, and a reverse triangle. It's like a persuasive essay or something they called it when we were in stupid school, back when school was wrong
back
about
in
a lot
stupid
of things.
School,
back in stupid school.
Well, it is true. That was it was called like a persuasive essay or something like that. And then after a while, they were like, this doesn't make any sense. No one wants this. The same thing with the food pyramid, where they were like, this is all just completely wrong. Yeah. So sorry, everyone who can't eat right anymore.
This is a little bit of a side thing before we actually answer the question here, but Pete's Punisher Slipper says, Pete does your homework is not a Patreon tier. I'll tell you what, it is going to be after the show.
Boy.
Yes. I love Pete doing it, because honestly, Pete will stress out about it. He'll be like,
oh man,
I gotta do it.
How much, Pete? What would be the proper tier for Pete does your homework? $50, $100?
I don't think there's amount of money that you don't want me to.
We have tickle videos for $5,000.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. And I wasn't good at school, so you don't want me doing any of this.
The beauty of this is Pete would then have to hire a high school student to do the homework, and then he'd end up paying double for. So Pete would just be like losing money.
Yeah.
All right. Well, back to this question, though. Again, what makes Spider-Man so timeless, and why can anyone wear the mask? I assume at least part of this is based on Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, where that's the whole theme of the movie. So, I mean, that's an obvious one, but I know it's weird to cite a movie, but like the text there and the layers there are great. So I definitely look at that.
I would say, to get back to what kind of why anyone can wear the mask and want to make Spider-Man so great, it's a struggle. Watching Spider-Man, whoever's wearing the mask, regardless of race or sex. Like, it's somebody trying to do good, trying to do the right thing, failing, making mistakes, falling down, getting back up, and hopefully succeeding and saving the day. We're rooting along with this person to kind of win the day. And that's what makes Spider-Man so great. And you get to go up against incredible odds. So
I think Pete's 100% right. And I think the reason why it works for Spider-Man is because Spider-Man was one of the first heroes that I think had that level of struggle tied into it. It was about the angst. Everyone identified so hard with Spider-Man that the mask and the persona became larger, became an icon. And so I think once Spider-Man achieved that icon status, the symbol meant like someone who does good and suffers for it and has to struggle to do that and to get by. And that's why, as Pete's saying, now anyone who puts on the mask, that's the character they embody. So I think and Miles Morales is a perfect example. Like, it's a completely different character, different situation, but the struggle it lines up. And I think that's why iconography that's the homework right there.
Yeah, I mean, I think jumping off of what you guys are saying, the thing that makes Spider-Man relatable is he gets the shit beat out of him all the time. Like, you look at Superman and he's always like, oh, I'm down, but I'm still the most powerful man in the world. There's times when Peter Parker just has that classic, like, half his mask is ripped and his eyeball is hanging out, and he's like, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to try anyway, but I'm definitely going to lose. Some of my favorite Spider-Man scenes and the things that make it relatable is like he's tagging along with the Avengers. Maybe he's not part of the Avengers. And they're still fighting, and he's lying on some rubble and be like, guys, I need help.
Yeah.
And that feels like the sort of thing, if any of us actually had superpowers, what we'd be like. We wouldn't be like, I'm Steve Rogers. I'm super strong. I can do absolutely anything. You would be the regular guy that would try really hard and do the right thing no matter what, like you were saying, Justin.
And I think another angle on it is the tragic beginnings. Same with Batman. Like, I feel like that really sticks with us, where you're like, especially the Spider-Man one is something that drives me crazy and addicts me to certain stories where the hero could have easily stopped the bad thing from happening, but for one, just missed opportunity. He let the robber go. The same way in Dumb and Dumber, when they don't get on the bus at the end, when they easily could. It's just and they go and they try. You know what I'm saying? Same thing. That's a great. That's a great. Definitely cite that source in your paper. Dumb and Dumber, minute 110 movie.
I think it's the hard lessons in life that they don't shy away from with Spider-Man, and that the hard start. Like, a lot of, I don't know, maybe a lot of people would have given up after that whole fiasco with your uncle dying and being like, every time I put on this thing, somebody could die. It's the sad moments of Spider-Man's life that we get to witness, to see him or her, whoever is wearing the mantle, like, struggle with it. And I think it's just one of those things that is timeless and something we can always relate to.
And that's why whenever Pete sees someone who he thinks is a robber, he beats the shit out of him.
That's right. Better safe than sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Just talking about sources, though, beyond that, it's tough to think of scholarly works that you might use for a college essay versus comic books. The first one that comes to mind, though, in terms of a comic book is Spider-Man Blue by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale, just because that's something that delves very deeply into the psychology of Spider-Man and why he does what he does. So that's something you could certainly do. If you want to go to why anyone can wear the mask, I would certainly look to the Miles Morales stuff that Brian Michael Bendis has written, because that's the germ of the idea that went into Spider-Verse. Any other comics or books potentially anybody might recommend?
You can look up Spider on Wikipedia. It's a good starting point.
Wow. You can just say no, Justin. You can just say no.
No, but Alex sounded really smart with all he said, so I wanted to contribute.
Yeah, no, that was good. I love Wikipedia. They're looking for funding right now. You should really support them.
You guys support them.
It is Thankful Tuesday, I think, or Giving Tuesday.
Yeah, Giving Tuesday. There you go. All right, let's move over to Kevin's question here on Crowdcast. What are some of the wildest interpretations of historical figures that you enjoy?
Ooh.
Wildest
Nice.
interpretations of historical figures.
Harriet Tubman, Vampire Hunter, wasn't that like the Harriet Tubman like
Sure.
badass where she was just like fighting vampires and shit,
Yeah.
and werewolves. Also, Abe Lincoln, Vampire Hunter. Thank you, Pete's Punisher Slippers.
Nice. Thanking your own slippers.
I feel like I mentioned this recently, but the first arc of Jerry Dugan and Brian Posehn's Deadpool, where they just had all of the presidents coming back to life. Great. Super fun.
Yes, very fun. I'm trying to think of something, especially something that's not a president. I mean, the one that comes to mind is the Mark Russell did a series about Jesus, basically, which I thought was fun, wild, lightly controversial.
Cool.
We need to read some more history, guys.
Yeah, I guess so. There you
Otherwise, we'll be destined to repeat it.
I mean the Jesus and Easter Bunny kind of sightings in that show. Why am I blanking on the amazing show that we do a podcast about?
Wait,
Talking about Preacher?
No. Jesus and the Easter Bunny. And there was an amazing car episode in it too. American Gods. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it.
Coming back January 10th, American Godcast. Check it out on iTunes, Android, Spotify, Stitcher, or the app of your choice.
Yes. We're definitely going to be back on top of it by then.
It's been a while. It's okay. Pete's main takeaway from that show is there's a cool car and a dime.
It is crazy. You're like, Jesus, the Easter Bunny, and there's a cool car. And I was like, that could be almost anything. That could be a Hallmark car.
Question here on YouTube from Nelson Martinez. What are your guys' favorite snack or food to pair with beer or vice versa?
Ooh, I mean, it's hard for me to not eat a chip. I love chips. We talk about chips a lot. But let me expand and talk about nachos.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, a little
The
chips.
floor is yours.
So let me start with my inciting thesis, and then I'm going to go into down into my thesis statement. I like a good nacho. I like a nacho that you layer the toppings with the chips, then you bake it for a little too long so that it's like the chips are a little too crispy, and the cheese is a little browned on top. Then you hit it with some guac when on its way out the door, and you sir or ma'am have you hit yourself a nacho.
I will say, Justin, you make a good guac, Justin.
Thank you, Alex. Ooh, that
no
hits me
problem.
right in the
When
compliment
back when people are allowed to go over other people's houses, we would go over and watch American God screeners sometimes.
Yeah,
and you would make some guac, and it was a very nice guac.
Thank you. I do. I pride myself on guac. I also make a salsa, a kiwi salsa that is very good. I'll make that next time I see you. Maybe on one of our funerals, I assume.
So, you know what? Just instead of dirt, throw guac on my coffin, please.
Weird section of Alex's will. He wants President Justin Tyler to throw guac.
His dying word was make him into nachos. That actually would be a nice way to go, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
Just to answer the question, mixed nuts. I actually really love nuts. I had
Alex, come on, get a
no,
little more.
I do. I know it's like a typical bar snack, but I really love nuts, and nobody else in my family eats nuts. My wife is allergic to nuts, so we never get them. So it always feels like a nice treat when I have them.
Wow.
Beer Cat PhD beat me to it. A nice soft pretzel, giant soft pretzel is great.
Throw some beer cheese over there with that pretzel.
Oh yeah, I think it's. I also like a nice mix of like chips and different kind of snacks. You know.
Oh, you mean all snacks you like?
No. I mean, like, you know how they do a party mix of different, like, you know, put the cheese doodles in there, some pretzels, some chips. You know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wait, if you're getting a party mix, what's the first thing you eat, or what's the best thing, and why is it the rye toasts?
It is the rye toast.
It's not
Very
the rye
surprising.
toast.
It
It is
is.
not the rye toast.
100%.
No way.
We were recording a podcast one day over at Pete's apartment in Brooklyn, super early in the morning, and Pete laid out this spread that included. Pete, please correct me because I don't remember everything. It was like donuts. I want to say salsa and chips,
Yep.
some randomly sized cheeses,
Yep.
hard pretzels.
Mm-hmm.
Hit me up. What else you got? There was like the most spread out spread.
Yeah, I had didn't have mozzarella, artichokes, and kind of a meat to go on the cracker. I usually do a prosciutto or a capicola.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was great.
It was great. It was
Roll
a
red
weird
peppers.
stomach mix, I'll tell you that much. And real quick, Alex, before we leave this behind, give us your nut power rankings. Everybody's waiting for it.
Oh, are there nut power rankings?
Give us when you're going through your mixed nuts. Are you going?
Oh, man.
Are you hitting macadamia? Are you almonding it up? You getting walnuts?
I mean, here's
Cashew.
the
Come
thing.
on, cashew is the
cashew king, baby.
Cashews are great because you got like a
Cashew
little bit
king.
of sweetness from the cashew. I always like a pecan or because that's surprising. Like it's surprising to have a pecan in
There's
there.
no more surprising nut than the pecan.
Yes. Almonds are always good. I'll always eat almonds. I love eating like different flavors of almonds. I often, if I get like one of the little canisters of flavored almonds, I'll be like, I'll have a couple of them and then they're gone.
And you just get almonds that are like in a canister of honey or some sort of maple syrup almond. I'm assuming.
I actually try to avoid the sweet almonds. I usually have like a spicy, like a soy sauce almond or something like that. Wasabi almond.
Stop naming nuts, Alex Galvin.
Do you know what the worst are? Wait, I'll put at the bottom though, because I just had a nut mix last night.
Alex,
not to brag. I don't want to brag. I had a nut mix last night.
Yeah. Stop flexing
got
on
that
us,
nut
would
flex.
you?
Okay, give us that
hazelnuts.
bottom nut.
Hazelnuts right at the bottom. Just like unnecessary there. Too hard. Don't really taste like much. Pcrats to PhD says, don't say Nutflex. I'll say Nutflex.
Stop Nutflex.
Okay, I won't say Nutflex anymore.
I think you mean Netflix.
Netflix.
Yeah.
That's how it started, actually.
I gotta say,
Let's branch out into movies, they said.
What's your favorite show on Netflix right now?
oh my god.
What's on the Netflix top?
Hazelnut of Cards. Love that.
Oh, wow.
Stranger Pecans.
It's great.
I would like to say, speaking of pecans, I made a chocolate pecan and bourbon pie for Thanksgiving, and it was delicious.
Ooh, that does sound good.
Nice. Very good, Pete.
Great questions, everybody.
Did you say for Christmas?
Oh, I meant to say Thanksgiving.
This rub. Yeah, just you made it early.
I'll make it again. Yeah, I'll make it again.
You don't have to age the pie. Just the bourbon.
Pablo asks, Wonder Woman 1984 coming to theaters and HBO Max on Christmas Day. Thoughts?
Yep. I'm a risk my life and go see it.
Really?
Yeah. He's still pushing the...
I'm going to go to find a drive-in. I got to find a drive-in.
Your life, that's staying safe in your car, Pete.
Yeah. But thank you for your concern, Joe. But actually, Stray Bullet hooked me up with his password, so I don't have to risk my life. So I'm excited.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
We talked about this a bit on the Week in Geek podcast, but I would love to see Wonder Woman in a theater. I am also, at the same time, very excited to be able to just watch it at home in my pajamas on Christmas Day. That sounds very nice.
Yes. Sounds like a great Christmas.
The trailer was airing over the Thanksgiving weekend. I saw it a couple times during the football games. And
horrible football games.
On Thanksgiving, yes.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, on a related topic, there was an article in Variety today about how WB and other production companies are basically dealing with reality that theaters may not widely be open through a lot of 2021 either, just because...
Wait, are you talking about the WB?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. That guy.
Not necessary.
Yeah.
Not only do we do old stuff, we do old promos for TV networks that stopped airing. Give me your favorite UPN promo real quick.
Oh my gosh. We do a Homeboys in Outer Space podcast that we
wow.
don't post. Good. We don't post it anywhere.
Yeah, we just shout at each other over the phone. Still repping that pig pen, if anyone remembers that sitcom.
Yeah. But they were talking about in the article that everybody is kind of dealing with the reality of the theaters are going to be closed for a while, and are they going to go the Wonder Woman route, particularly for WB movies on HBO Max? They've talked about it for a lot of them, like there's a new Tom and Jerry movie they might put on there. There's a couple of other movies. Weirdly, they decided, no, the new Mortal Kombat remake... That's got to be in theaters. We're going to delay that one. But Disney is going through a similar thing where they have a bunch of product, not Black Widow. That's definitely going to theaters whenever theaters widely reopen. But everything else, including like Cruella, which is the Emma Stone villain-focused 101 Dalmatians movie, other things of that sort, they're all talking about like bringing it directly to Disney Plus. Honestly, I think that's okay, personally. Like, again, I want theaters open as much as anybody else because I love going to them, but put the stuff out. Like, I think it's okay to put them on streaming services. It's not ultimately going to end up hurting theaters.
And I do think theaters are in trouble no matter what happens here on out. But I do think it is better because on the more positive side, when theaters do open, I predict theaters will open fully like May 2021. And we're going to get the most insane blockbuster movie season in our lifetimes. Yeah. It's going to be every weekend, just 2 powerhouse movies going back head to head because they have to keep schedules with all these other things going on. It's going to be wild. It's going to be
everybody just sobbing with happiness, touching each other.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of kissing in movie theaters again, especially strangers. And Pete's going to kiss strangers in movie theaters. Not me, because I won't be sitting next to him.
That photo from the end of World War II in Times Square that we all later found out was really objectionable and she didn't want to be kissed, except every day in movie theaters all the time. Yes. It's going to be very bad.
Well, let's not.
It's going to be bad news, everybody. Keep them closed. Getting back to Mandalorian, this is another one over on YouTube. Tom Eamon says, hoping to see a Luke Skywalker cameo on Mandalorian. I know it's a long shot, but it would be awesome. Love the show. Thanks for the entertainment every week, guys. Thank you, Tom, for tuning in. That's awesome.
That's nice.
What do you think about that? Again, this is getting into spoilers for the Mandalorian. But there's a tease that beyond Ahsoka Tano, we might see another Jedi coming up. A lot of people think it's Luke. There's been a fan push to have Sebastian Stan playing a young version of Luke Skywalker. Is that something you want to see on the show?
We could say no.
I want to see somebody like working on a mechanical. I want to see someone just working on a mechanical hand and not talk about who it's for. And I think that's enough.
What? You want to see that guy? You want to see Luke Skywalker's hand guy?
Yeah, the guy who made Luke Skywalker's hand, because that thing's amazing. The reflexes, it seems like he doesn't lose any dexterity. It's very impressive.
Yeah.
His defense against dark magic, though, is like +9. So that's pretty good as well. Somebody mentions here, give me Ezra. Oh, Joe says, give me Ezra Bridger. I think that's a more likely possibility. I don't think they're going to do Luke because they've been so reticent to recast parts in the Star Wars stuff. I think if anything, we'll get a live action Ezra Bridger. We'll get some Jedi we haven't thought about for a while or something like that. Somebody's going to show up probably right at the end of the season. But I think it's going to be something like season 1 ended with the Darksaber, this thing that you saw and you're like, ooh, that looks cool. What is that? And then the people who were in the know were like, okay, that actually has a deep history in Star Wars, the Clone Wars and other things. So I think we'll probably get something more like that where it's not, here's Luke Skywalker so much as here's a thing that looks cool, but doesn't mean much to casual fans, but means a lot more to serious fans.
I think that's 100%.
Sounds fun.
There you go. Fun is fun. Question from Eduardo over on Crowdcast. Now that you guys review almost every comic released in the stack, do you have trouble remembering what happened in the last issue of a given series? If so, do you have methods for keeping things straight when comics do not have a recap? Great question. First of all, just like point of order about the stack that I'll say.
Oh!
Well, no. This is like something that I actually think about a lot because we've been doing a lot more comic books in the stack, but we're still not doing everything necessarily. We still, when we're sending out stuff, we do try to do number ones, big issues, titles that we're following, things like that, but it's not covering absolutely everything. I think if we're covering everything, we die.
We're covering everything. We do one more comic each week.
Yes, exactly. It's still a lot more than we used to be doing, I think, on the stack. And we all agree that it's great. No. Eduardo says, my bad, Alex. No, not at all. No bad at all. I just wanted to specify that we're doing a lot more, but there are still other comics out there that we're not necessarily covering. But what do you guys think? Are there ways that you use to keep track of everything? Are you having problems keeping track of everything, given the amount of comics that we're reviewing now? Anybody? Long pause.
Sorry, I just forgot your name and the other guy's name real quick. I'm always surprised by how much I retain from comics. It means I've devoted too much of my brain to remembering a series of nonsensical nouns and adjectives. But I think comic book writers and artists and editors do an amazing job of looping information even without a recap page, that it's very easy to just key back into what's going on.
Yeah, I think if I don't remember what happened, I will ask one of these gents here, like, wait, what the fuck happened before this? But usually when I start reading it again, it kind of clicks like, oh, I remember where we left off once you kind of like get into it. But yeah, it's one of those things where denser comics are a little bit harder to kind of retain. Sometimes you got to look back and kind of just like read the one before it. But usually because we read so many comics, it just takes a couple pages for me to kind of get back in the swing of it.
Yeah. The thing that I think is weirdly hardest for me is particularly with DC books, cross-continuity stuff, where I'm trying to remember... Okay, does Superman know about this thing that happened in his history based on the New 52? Or is that something that got wiped away? Maybe there was another comic book where they mentioned this thing about Jason Todd that I'm not remembering. So there's a lot of stuff, particularly with DC continuity, because they keep rebooting it, that gets confusing for me. Marvel is weirdly easier in a way because nothing is forgotten. So it feels like, all right, I may not remember this thing that happened 10 years ago in Deadpool, but it doesn't matter as much because it is continuous. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I also think, the only area I can't remember on a month-to-month basis is why anyone likes Foggy Nelson. Is that
you're a fucking piece of shit? All right, fuck you.
Maybe I'm just forgetting it. It's
not bad enough. I gotta get shit from Zalbin on Slack. Then you're gonna fucking jump on this fucking bullshit.
There's a comment here, not to take it away from this, but JMC Hammer says, with Undiscovered Country, I had to reread the past few issues each time when a new one came out. That is very fair. Undiscovered Country to me is one of these books like Walking Dead, where I would read the book and be like, I understand the place this character holds in the story, but for the life of me, I cannot remember who they are or what previously has happened to them. But particularly when we're reviewing stuff, and maybe this is bad, but I sort of push that to the side and instead concentrate on the issue and how it works as a story in the issue. So what do I understand about this character and their place in the story they're telling over the course of this 20 to 24 page story that they're telling right here? That does mean, yes, I am forgetting things that happened in Undiscovered Country. Definitely Walking Dead, I was like, I don't know who this guy is. He was introduced 20 issues ago. He looks exactly like this other guy that they introduced. I'm not sure.
He seems to have a hat, so maybe I should look that up, the hat he has.
Do you know what I was thinking about with Walking Dead, both with the comic and TV shows the other day? It's surprising that there aren't more characters with the same name. Like, you feel like there should be a lot of Mikes. Right? In Walking Dead.
Just you're talking about it in a real world Walking Dead situation.
Exactly.
It'd be like a bunch of Mikes and a bunch of Sarahs.
Yeah, they'd be like, Mike got killed by a zombie. They'd be like, oh no, Mike. And they'd be like, no, sorry, Mike C. Mike C got killed. Yeah.
Okay, Alex and Pete.
All right, Justin. Jesus Christ. We got a saucy question here from Crowdcast. From Ben the Border Collie. Anyone else experiencing some Tom King fatigue? I've long loved his writing, but today's selections barely seem coherent to me. I'll mention we are going to be talking about a fair amount of Tom King stuff over on our stock podcast.
Yes, we are.
So in case you didn't pick up the DC stuff, I don't think we necessarily need to spoil it. But what do you think? Are you experiencing Tom King fatigue yet? Pete, it sounds like maybe you are.
Well, with the weirder stuff, I can get at me a little bit. Like with the, Strange Adventures, it can get a little bit weird. But other Tom King I can't get enough of. Like the Batman, Catwoman, his Batman stuff, can't get enough of. But when he gets a little kind of like a little bit more esoteric or really kind of crazy with the storytelling, that can be a little tough. Like that whole therapy one where all the superheroes were going to like this therapy place. That one got a little
Heroes in Crisis.
Yeah.
Justin, what were you going to say about this?
I'm not getting fatigued by it, but I hear that because I do think he uses some similar ways of time dashing, I think, through a lot of his books that are a little bit, that can be obtuse. And it makes you feel like, oh, I don't know. Do I not know what's happening or did I miss something? But I do think he's such a good writer that if you move past that feeling and being like, no, I trust that this is all driving toward a purpose, then I think I don't have that same fatigue with that trust.
Justin, I just want you to be careful. I don't know if you've seen Shawshank, but be careful who you call obtuse, okay? Because some people aren't going to take it well.
Wow. Truth. That's why I stay out of jail.
I will say, and this is pursuant to our previous discussion, but without getting too much into spoilers or anything, but reading Batman Catwoman today, that was something that took me a minute to get back into the rhythm of that book because his Batman has not come out for, I don't know, months, a year, something like that at this point.
Yeah.
I honestly don't remember. And that does have a very different rhythm, a very different pacing, a very different structure from Strange Adventures, from Rorschach, from the other stuff that he's done. So there was a point in that where I was like, I don't know what's happening. And then I sort of clicked into it halfway through. But the stuff that he's doing is interesting, and he's working with amazing artists, and the layouts are great. And so for that, I get how it could reach a point where it's feels kind of samey, but the stuff that, like you were saying, Justin, the stuff that he's doing is so smart and so interesting. I'm willing to follow it for now.
The issues that came out today, I thought, were two of my favorites from what he's been working.
Guys, let's save this for the stack. You don't want to spend it all here. You know what I mean? I don't want to have to re-listen to the same bullshit you tread over on the stack, all right?
Yeah.
I would hate for you to have to listen twice, Pete.
Yeah, I know.
What a taxing thing for poor Pete to have to do.
Yeah.
We got one last question here that we'll answer. Joe asks, "What wealthy superheroes should wealthy superheroes be held up to the magnifying glass that we hold real world wealthy elite to in the form of comic books? Or are they just ingrained in escapist fantasy?" Personally, I would go towards the latter, unless that's the story a writer is trying to tell. What do you guys think?
I don't know how much we hold up real world rich people to any sort of moral standard. We let them get away. I mean, they get away with whatever they want most 98% of the time. So I feel like that is reflected a bit in the comic book universe.
Pete?
I don't know, man. I mean, it's tough because it is a comic book. So, I feel like rich people are more annoying in real life and can be a little bit more fantastical in comic books. And I don't root against them as much in comic books, depending on how they're written. But I understand what they're saying. And yeah, I mean, it would be nice if rich people had a little bit more accountability.
The problem is that there isn't really a one-to-one because you don't see Mike Bloomberg dressing it as a bat at night and fighting crime.
Don't you?
I've seen that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you've seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah, when he was mayor, he was always up on the roof.
Oh, okay. He was always like, I'm vengeance of the night. Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm remembering that now.
You remember when Elizabeth Warren was like, "Where do you get those wonderful toys?" Like, where? Tell us where you got those wonderful toys.
Yeah. Yeah. She lost running for president because she asked everybody if they wanted to see a magic trick, right?
She's the Joker. Wow. She's the Joker of the group.
That pencil disappeared. Nobody voted for her after that.
You just gave a Joker quote. You said, "Where did you get this wonderful toys?"
Yes, but I was describing another person. I like that the fact that Elizabeth Warren is the Joker is a wild idea.
I mean, she's burning piles of money everywhere. You know what I'm talking about?
Wow.
To be fair, she basically did that to Mike Bloomberg on that stage, and he left the race in shame. She magic tricked that pencil into his campaign's brain, that's for sure.
Yeah,
we could talk about Democratic primary politics real quickly, right?
Absolutely. But I think that's the point, is that I understand there's stories to be told of like holding Bruce Wayne's feet to the fire.
100%. Alfred needs to unionize.
Yes.
He's a one-man union. Where Alfred is not getting what his due. What's his retirement package
he's
like?
Dead, so it's hard for him to do that.
Ouch.
Okay.
Too soon.
Yeah. Well, where do his 401k? Where are his bennies?
Exactly. There's stories you can tell based on that, I think, but the way that superhero comics are told, I don't think that, like, Bruce Wayne does not act like that. Tony Stark does not act like that. They have things that are pressing to their time in terms of fighting people in the street, or in space or wherever else. So it's not a one-to-one, but that doesn't mean that, like, I think a Tom King, for example, could do a great job of showing a realistic, here's what happens when Bruce Wayne is shown, you've been fucking shit up. I think, like, in a certain way, Scott Snyder did that quite a bit throughout his run, honestly.
Yep, for sure. I think it's been touched upon a little bit. Well, that should be more true, though. I think we should hold real-world billionaires to the comic book standard. And I think once a year, Jeff Bezos needs to dress up and fight some crime. He needs to build an Iron Man suit and, like, have it blow up.
I would love to see the billionaires all come together in some sort of event that, changes everything and, like, sets up whatever's next for the billionaires. That would be super fun.
Yeah, with the crossover.
Exactly. All right, that is it for your audience questions.
Yeah.
Next up, it is time for trivia, and for that, we're going to turn it over to Pete LePage.
All right. This is the part we give back to you, the lovely audience. It's an opportunity to win $25 free in the form of a gift card to Midtown Comics online. Whoever would like $25 free, please just raise their hand in any of the on YouTube or on Crowdcast, wherever.
We got to Crowdcast it up. We haven't invited anyone into the stream in quite a while.
Yeah, while we're waiting for somebody to say hand up, Josh mentions Mark Russell would do a scathing take on billionaire superheroes. There was Billionaire Island, which is still running, which is great. I will say Leanne Ramos does a hand up here on YouTube.
All right.
You want to do that, Pete?
Well, why don't we go with the first hand up? Yeah, let's do that.
All right, there we go. Leanne Ramos, you are up in the stream, so just drop your answers in the comments on YouTube.
Yeah.
But Pete is going to ask away. You ready, Pete?
Yes. All right. So I'm going to read you a question, listen to all three possible answers, and then get all three questions right. $25 will be yours. Today's trivia is on topical comic news. Thank you, Zalvin. All right.
Yes.
Here we go.
Yes. Topical. This is where I get my news, just so everybody knows. I don't get any news anywhere else. This is my primary news source.
Yeah, I hit the paywall with Pete, so I don't get the news from it.
Oh, man. Too many articles.
Yeah,
too many articles from Pete.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Question number 1. This Image/Top Cow series is returning, and Sarah Piznini is taking the mantle as blank. Is it A, The Darkness, B, Witchblade, or is it C, Tim Blake Nelson? So it's either A, don't pick it, or it's B, which would be the correct answer.
And obviously, we're waiting for the YouTube answer to come through because of the delay. So I'm gonna run a quiz while we're waiting for the delay.
Wow.
And mine is just I just need what was the wrong answer that Pete just set out. So Pete obviously has just said there are three answers. There's one of them is.
I think Tim Blake Nelson. Is this Incredible Hulk? Is that the Robin Williams movie that you're doing this time?
No, that is not the movie. But I appreciate where your head's at.
Ooh, Leanne says B.
That is correct.
Yes.
Witchblade.
Yes,
Witchblade is coming
Witchblade.
back.
And of course, the answer to my quiz was A, whichever one he said before that.
Okay, second question. Marvel's new Valkyrie is a drinker just like blank. Is it A, movie Valkyrie, B, old school comic Valkyrie, or is it C, Holly Hunter? So which one is it? Is it A, if you want to be correct, or is it B, if you don't want to be correct?
Which answer did Pete just say that was incorrect? Not the one that's his secret quiz, which, as we all know, is C. He had mentioned two other answers, one of which was A and one of which was B. Which one was incorrect?
And I have a quiz on Justin's quiz, which is which answer was incorrect that Justin pushed people towards guessing that was incorrect. Oh, Leanne says A.
A is correct.
And
Wow,
mine was
there
B.
Oh, and mine was
nice.
A.
All right, here we go. Last one.
We've effectively ruined Pete's only section of the show.
Finally, after all these years. All right. Creators are still working on what project despite the fact that Marvel has canceled it? Is it A, Web of Spider-Man, B, Hickman's X-Men, or is it C, Giovanni Ribisi? So it's either A,
Wow.
or it's B, which is something that I wish was true, but unfortunately is not true.
So while we wait for Leah to answer, I just want to
While
mention the
we wait.
crazy thing that just happened here in the comments. So as we all know, Pete suggests a Robin Williams movie with the third answers of the questions. You said Holly Hunter, you said Tim Blake Nelson. Before you even said C, Kevin typed in Giovanni Ribisi, and then you said Giovanni
And then
Ribisi.
you said it.
And
Yo,
then-
that's the ultimate flex. Is predicting Pete's the answer? That's a flex.
That
Kevin,
is a flex.
Kevin
Leanne
just
says
pressed
A.
A is correct.
Woo!
Yeah.
Leanne,
Spider-Man.
congratulations. You have won a $25 gift card to Midtown Comics. Shoot us an email with your email to comicbookclublive@gmail.com. We'll get that right out to you, and you can enjoy it in the safety of your own home. Kevin, what is the movie that Pete is talking about?
What's
I
up,
don't know. I guess we'll find out.
It would be crazy if Kevin also didn't know the movie. He just guessed Giovanni.
Yeah.
You just love saying Giovanni Ribisi. I would have said Eliza Dushku. That used to be your go-to.
That used to be good.
Kevin is correct. The movie is called The Big White.
The Big
Nice.
White.
And of course, that movie is available streaming right now on Netflix. It's only $7.99 a month.
As we all know, tomorrow is New Comic Book Day, except for DC Comics, which are already out. You can get them
Already
anywhere.
out.
But, Pete, what are you looking forward to that's coming out tomorrow? What do you want to plug? What are you excited for?
Man, I'll tell you what I'm excited for is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Jenica 2 number 2 of 6. Very excited about that. And then King in Black I'm excited for as well.
Yeah, big Venom event coming. Justin, what about you?
Big Venom event.
Venom.
The Jenica issue that Pete talked about, that's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle series that we've all loved in all the times we've been reading it. So very down for that. I'm going to throw to a sort of weird one. There's a book coming out tomorrow called Fantastic Four Road Trip,
Yeah.
which is
No.
wild.
No, you like that?
Obviously it comes out tomorrow, so no one has read it yet because it does not have been released. But I'm very excited for it. It feels
I
like an
can't
interesting.
To
Dark.
rip into you about that.
Why would you rip into me? I'm just a.
Well, Pete, you're going to have to rip it to me, too, because
Good.
I'm also excited
I'm
about
gonna
that.
rip
If
into
we're
both
excited-
you assholes.
Yeah, excited for people to check that out. I'll also plug, though, Far Sector number 9 is coming out from DC Comics. Great Green Lantern book. So good. I just get so excited when I
Best.
see this is in the stack so we
So
can talk
good.
about it. because it is fantastic.
And we mentioned earlier about the two Tom King books, Strange Adventure 7 and Batman Catwoman, are going to be very good, in my prediction.
Yes, we will see what happens. And all of this are going to be in our Stack podcast, which comes out of the Comic Book Club feed at its own Stack feed, 9 a.m. tomorrow. And folks, I think that is it for our show. Before we go, thank you very much to our guest today, T.E. Marshall, a.k.a. Teddy Marshall. And Teddy We Trust. Wow. You can check that out now. Yeah, I'm calling him out. I'm doing it. Next week on the show, we are going to have a bunch of guests here. Scott Zakarian and James Gavsey from the Rideshare podcast. Also Ryan Hack from Brick Brack 2, a fantasy Christmas story, is going to be here to help get the holiday season kicked off, so that should be fun. Also, Umbrella Academy, our Umbrella Academy podcast is ongoing, so definitely subscribe to that. Also, very soon, our Chilling Adventures of Sabrina podcast, Chilling Podcast of Sabrina, is coming back, so subscribe to that to get prepped. It's all coming out on December 31st. Patreon.com/Comic Book Club to support this show and the other shows we do. iTunes, Android, Spotify, Stitcher, or the app of your choice. At Comic Book Live on Twitter, comicbookclublive.com for this podcast and more. Until next time, this is Comic Book Club saying don't forget the Netflix, and we'll see you Nedfang.
They sit on crappy couches and they let the secrets leak. And occasionally they let their special guest speak. So grab your written hammer, don't be late for it, 'cause their girlfriends can barely tolerate it. Comic Book Club, Comic Book Club, Comic Book Club.
Thanks, everybody.